Hey guys, Sebtube here. Ogre's usually a class in Megabonk that doesn't receive much love. When someone thinks of the class, they immediately think about how slow it is, or how clunky and difficult the axes are to use at lower levels. But I'm going to show you how to get around both of these to make Ogre one of the most overpowered classes in the entire game. It is truly underrated in my opinion. This video will also act as a guide in case you want to play it yourself. First, let me show you what items I like to have toggled when playing Ogre. When it comes to the weapons, the build in general is meant to be an AoE sort of build, so I usually like to select AoE weapons. I was playing something else before this, so I got different stuff toggled, but I usually go for Flame Walkers, Axe obviously since you start with it, Banana, and Dexecutioner. I'm looking to go away from Banana, maybe try Katana, or this Dice weapon. That's another thing you can try, but as far as that goes, those would be the only things I would touch. Oh, I did forget about Aura. You can use this one if you struggle with the early game. Aura is crazy when it comes to early, but it does fall off a lot later into the game. For tomes, what I go for is XP and difficulty. That's always something that you have to run for leaderboard runs. Also, I really like to get Luck Tome. It's probably my favorite tome in the game. It guarantees that later in the game you get way too many legendaries, so it's really fun for that reason. But it's also a good option. I'll probably be testing out other builds that don't use Luck Tome. I just like it a lot. And for my fourth tome, I like to go the Size Tome. It makes it that all of your weapons early into the game basically hit every enemy you see on the map and makes it really easy to kill them as they keep respawning. And then for items, this is the setup I like to go. I've got these 3 legendaries not enabled. I don't really think they're worth taking up the potential legendary slot. Might also be trying to not take Chunk Plate in the near future. Not sure if that's worth taking. Also, my banishing strategy at the moment is to just banish items that are basically useless. So for example, oh by the way, I don't like going Idle Juice. I prefer going Scarf because I like to move around and I find that Scarf has more value in the total run, but I am still learning as I go, so I might be wrong. But items that might be useless are, for example, and that I banish are the Spiky Shield, 1 mirror after getting one, what else? Beacon later into the game, Campfire since I don't stand still, Electric Plug since I don't like to get hit, Feathers I really don't like, so I banish those, and also things like Burger because it's just horrible, and also Medkit. But yes, that's the items that I like to have deselected and selected. Now, let me show you how to destroy at Megabonk with Ogre at each stage. So to start things off, I prioritize looking for difficulty shrines, Moai statues, free chests, the shady salesmans, but especially the boss shrines, while also getting pots that I see on the way. You want to avoid the blue ones if you've gotten too much silver in this game. Firstly, I go for the difficulty shrines because at the very beginning, it's easy to handle and it will get you extra gold and XP. And you want the Moai statues, free chests, and shady salesmans because they can launch you straight into a great run. The Moai statues give you an item straight away that you can select, so high chance it's a good one, and it can be one of the game-breaking ones like Soul Harvester, same as Shady Salesman, but for that one you might need to organize a route to come back to purchase the item if it's too expensive. Probably the Demonic Soul 150. Oh, we can buy it? What? We can't buy it? Can't afford 150. What the fuck are you talking about? And I go for the boss shrines because Ogre is a beast at killing bosses early, because contrary to popular belief, axes are OP early game. I'll show you what I mean. But first, I do go for charge shrines, but only if I'm running past them anyway. I won't divert my path to them, at the risk I miss out on some Moais or salesmen or boss statues before the first boss spawns. But the reason I do go for the charge shrines if I'm running straight past them is because it's extremely hard to get every shrine as Ogre in the first area, even with ideal movement. And there can be some things from charge shrines that really help you, especially during the boss fights and the first horde. But in the beginning I mostly go for gold gain and XP since the breakable pots on the floor give you a bunch of each. I also don't think movement speed is a bad choice either, since I mentioned it's so hard to get everything on the map, and it does help you clear faster and it does help with your survivability. The best defensive option by far at this point is getting +1 projectile count. This is because most weapons in the game start by shooting only 1 projectile, so you're essentially doubling the weapon's power. So when you are leveling up, try to select as many different weapons as you can from the selection I mentioned in the beginning of the video. This also has the extra benefit of reducing the chance you need to use refreshers, which will come in handy later into the game. Also, when getting weapon upgrades at this point in the game, try to prioritize getting extra projectiles, since it's the strongest boost you can give to your weapon. At this point, if you get offered a size tome, but you also get offered just a small boost to a singular weapon size or duration, you're much better off picking up the size tome because it will increase the power of all your weapons so far. Also, obviously pick any of the 4 tomes that we're going for if there's no weapon options, especially XP and luck. Open chests the moment you can afford them, and when they're convenient to go past. Also, with shrines, 1 shield and 1 extra jump is insane for your survivability. You want to have 1 of each by the 10-minute mark for the stage boss. It really helps. By the way, if you have picked up the flame walkers thus far, which you probably have, a trick that you can do if you're high up, stand near the cliff facing away from it, because your shots will go at the bottom at the point where enemies will try to scale the wall, except they'll die instead, giving you free XP next time you pick up a magnet, and of course free gold instantly when they die. While we're looking for all of the things I mentioned before, also be killing enemies on the way when it's convenient, like with drive-bys, or when charging a shrine. Be on the lookout for the time stop, invincibility, or attack speed power-ups for when the boss spawns at 7 minutes. This will make the boss like 10 times easier. But even if you didn't get a power-up, it's still doable. It's really important that you kill the boss before the 6-minute mark when the horde spawns, because the items that the boss drops will help you towards that horde, and also dealing with the bosses while fighting the horde at the same time is not fun. Best thing to do with the boss is use your jumps to strafe around and dodge the boss, while using the air time to aim towards the boss so that you don't move in the direction you're facing, but the axes shoot that way. Avoid strafing backwards unless you're versing only 1 boss, because that's how many you'll most likely be hitting. If you're strafing around, you'll be hitting multiple, and of course the closer you are to the bosses, the more damage you'll deal, so you want to try to get better at being closer because of the amount of projectiles you'll be hitting. So you want to practice getting as close to the bosses as you can, while of course not getting hit by them because they deal a lot of damage and you're most likely not going to be healing much. This will take a lot of practice to get good at, though you may need to get lucky with different weapon pickups during level ups, and the projectile count increases from shrines and items. Shield and extra jumps is also really good for the boss fight. If you got the stone golem, you mostly just have to watch out for the shots that will shoot at your current location, so as long as you continuously strafe around the boss, they shouldn't hit you. And when it comes to the pig bosses, watch out for their predictive shots. Before starting the bosses at the 7 and 3 minute mark, try to find a nice location that's free from trees and other obstacles, because the bosses annoyingly try to climb them, so it makes it really hard to kill them quick. After defeating the bosses, pick up your items and demolish the horde. Use any power-ups that drop during the horde, including magnets to help you. If you're dealing with many enemies, a great thing to do, since the axes linger in the air a bit, is shoot once to one side, then once to the other side, and repeat, if you can't afford to move around. Depending on how confident you are, start to greed with your item and shrine choices, opting for XP, difficulty, and luck tome and boosts. Also, now I start getting every single thing on the map in an efficient clearing manner. Usually I do this by hugging the sides first, then clearing the middle of the map. What about this guy? Anvil! Guys, the horde at 3 minutes can be tough, so don't greed too much and try to organize power-ups for it. Of course, with the soul harvester, it makes it a joke. Doing great, I'm tapping in because I see the harvester green card. Yeah, it's going crazy. It's going crazy. Dude, I hate how you need a harvester, man. So cringe. But if you have the 4 weapons by now, and you haven't been greeding too much, you shouldn't have too difficult of a time. Then, the 2-minute boss fight is just an easier version of the first one, so you should be chilling. Also, at this point, you may want to turn your shot transparency down, because it's really important that you're dodging the boss shots, especially during the stage boss that you're about to do. Now, time is almost up. Depending on your confidence, your power, experience, how many bosses are spawning, and things like that, you want to start the boss when you're ready. I like to do this as late as I can, when I think the boss will die 50 seconds after the final swarm begins, because you take advantage of that post-boss kill magnet effect. So all the ghosts that I've killed until then, I get their XP instead of it being dispersed on the ground everywhere. With the final boss, it's basically a combination of the stone golem boss and the ham boss, because they have the shots that try to hit your current location, but also the predictive shots, so watch out for both. With the final boss, you may want to drag them to an open area free from trees and stuff, because yeah, it's really hard to hit all of them at the same time if half of them are climbing trees annoyingly. Something that you can do is you can kill all of the bosses except for one, then you can turn your smart targeting off to instead change it to closest enemy in settings. That way you kill the last boss alive as long as you can until the 50-second mark. At the 50-second mark, you really want to be rushing for the portal, because when the black ghosts start coming at the 1-minute mark, it's really hard to live. But when you do master this delayed stage boss kill, it adds a lot of value to your runs. Now once the boss is dead, go to the portal and don't enter just yet. Sit at the portal, aiming away from it so your axes fly out. The great thing about this is that your axes are doing the great damage they do in front of you, while also your back isn't exposed because you have the portal protecting you. And then enter the portal as soon as you get hit. If you get at least level 50, I'd say you have a good run on your hands. You don't need crazy items to do this. Now, despite your items, it's worth seeing how it plays out. And congratulations, you passed the hardest part of the run by far. The rest is chill by comparison skill-wise, but you still need to know what to do in order to maximize your run, so it's mostly knowledge-based from here on out. So, we're at the second area now, and immediately I dart for only the curse shrines. You want to plan power-ups for it as you have been doing so far, but it's gonna be much easier than the earlier boss fights because you're killing a lot more minions, so a power-up is almost guaranteed, if not multiple, and you're quite strong at this point. So the boss fight itself will be quick. Same as the Horde. See what I mean by this is going to be more chill? Try to save money power-ups for the Horde and the final spawn ghost thing, that's when they're most effective. And at this point, just try to collect everything on the map. Oh, I see a curse statue up there. Oh, sucky magnet! Guys, this is the fucking run. Oh my god, we got the 3 pieces of the Exodia. Sucky magnet, anvil, and soul harvester. From shrines, I prioritize power-up drop chance because it increases the chance that chests spawn from random enemies. Also try for elite spawn chance, duration, size early on, attack speed, and crit chance. Keep an eye out for Bush, we'll spawn him later when you're stronger and have more luck chance. Also at this point, you might want to set your shot transparency to 0. Now from the beginning of the second stage, I greed a lot more with XP, difficulty, and luck terms since we're a lot stronger, but you still want to be strong enough that you're basically instant killing all non-boss enemies that spawn. When you do verse the Horde, try to do it around the final boss and the bush so that you have a power up to make them way easier. Since you took the luck tome, technically the later you kill these bosses the better, but they have a really weird behavior that I don't understand if you start them really late. Could be because of the high difficulty, but I don't know. If anyone knows the reason, please let me know in the comments. Also at this point, you're leveling a ton. Make sure you stop leveling your size tome quite early because at around level 30, at that point you're already hitting every enemy you see as they spawn, so it's useless compared to getting other terms. Make sure you don't get XP boosts when your XP is at 10 times because it caps there. And difficulty boost basically caps at 600% because at that point enemies don't spawn anymore, but they do become stronger. Only pick up XP or size terms at this point to avoid picking the other options. And this will happen often because depending on how quick you're killing the enemies, you may want to greed your weapon upgrades. Like for example, in this run on screen, it was going so well that I was only going for almost perfect upgrades. This includes legendary upgrades and the stats I want boosted. Size is effectively useless because of the size term, and I'm pretty sure projectile speed is also useless, but let me know if I'm wrong. So I'm going for projectile count and duration, followed by damage. If I have an anvil, I'm trying to get all 3. Now, at this point, you should also have the map cleared out, and you're just getting chests as you can afford them. When the ghosts are becoming too much and you can't instantly kill them anymore, start heading towards the escape portal. Make sure at this point you're bunny hopping if you have the scarf so that you do more damage. If you got the Zawarado item, or whatever it's called, you can test your limits and stick around as long as you can, and when it pops you can pick up items, while also getting a few extra kills. Otherwise, leave instantly when you get hit, or when enemies get close. It's better safe than sorry. It's really easy to lose a run greeting at this point, especially because once you get hit you can go flying. Now before we continue, let me give a big shout out to my biggest supporters on Twitch. If you're enjoying this video or finding it useful, subscribe, and check if I'm live on Twitch and follow me there. Link will be down below. Okay, now you're at the third area and it's gonna be even more chill. You barely even need to play the game. There's also a chance at this point you've already gotten all your item upgrades, so you don't have to worry about that as well. Just like the second area, rush the boss shrines, and now don't use any difficulty shrines, since you'll be hitting the difficulty cap soon if you haven't already. You can just kill the bush straight away when you find him, and there's not much more to say except if you have refreshers remaining, which I hope you do, use them on the Moai statues to find OP legendaries, mainly the bonking item, fork thing, cleaver, Joe's dagger, electric ball thing, and ice cube. Also the lamp is extremely important if you don't have 2 already, and Zawarados, or whatever they're called, are amazing if you don't have any. Otherwise it's gonna be similar to the second stage except much easier. Now this guide assumes that you have experience with this boss, but even with that I've lost an embarrassing amount of god runs to this guy. Extra jumps, chunk plates, and Zawarados really help here. You're basically just instant killing this boss and then being forced to get the shrines. Use the shrines to block the orb shots from the boss, but also keep moving to dodge the predictive shots. And when the boss dies, it's bing chilling time. It's gonna take a while for things to start getting rough. Just get chests as they spawn, and make sure to bunny hop if you have the scarf when the enemies aren't instantly dying anymore. And good luck on your kill count. Now I've got a lot of room for improvement. I've been playing this game blind for a while and only started allowing people to give me advice and looking at other runs a few days ago. So every day I'm getting drastically better, so expect much crazier stuff. If you appreciated this video, let me know in the comments, and subscribe and like the video, and let me know what class you want me to do next for a guide. Catch you next time. Peace.